Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? It's Friday. In some spaces, it's called Aloha Friday. So today, I am, as you know, on Fridays, I've decided to just, for the time being, we're dedicating Friday to a little bit of my homeschooling journey. Okay, and for those of you who know that, yes, I did decide to homeschool. Unlike the rest of the world, who most students are online schooling, I'm homeschooling, right? So one of the things that is very different that I realized in this first week is you got to know what's important and what's not. And it's not anything against the education system, but what kids do in school is different, okay? And it's designed that way because it is school. Okay. Now, the thing is, you still have to create that kind of school environment if you are a parent who's probably taking your kids out of the regular school. So, first off the bat, it's very important. I think I've had to come to this realization over and over. And some parents, they're mixing up homeschooling with online schooling, right? Because kids are home, it doesn't mean that they're homeschooling. Homeschooling is a completely different culture. It's like you school in everything that you do. All right. Now, for your kids who, if you're transitioning to homeschooling like myself, that's going to take a little bit of transition because my kids were used to going out to school. Pandemic brought them home, and now they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? So, one of the things that, was important for me is understanding what's important. All right. Now, if you got little kids, you need to know that they have to do two things. That two things they have to know how to do. Okay. They need to know how to speak right, like everything English, right? They need to know how to read. They need to know how to write. Okay. So maybe it's three. And then they need to know how to count. All right. Because it's really strange when you go into the grocery shop and grown adults have to use a calculator to add 2 cents to something, right? So let's be realistic when it comes to homeschooling. If you're online schooling, follow the syllabus, follow the curriculum, you know what you have to do, right? But if you're homeschooling, understand that your kids need to know how to read, write, and count. All right. So when you think about it, there's what we call English, language, phonics, whatever, handwriting, and then arithmetic and math. Okay. Especially if you've got little ones, there's very little you need to do, which I've come to realize in this first week. Okay. And on top of that, it's like when we talk about subjects, science and history and geography and all of those things, that's later down the road. Science, we're gonna bake bread. Hey, look, the yeast is making it get big. That's science for the day. All right. Okay. We're gonna wash clothes. Oh, we have to wash the whites. We're gonna put a little bleach in. What would happen if I put a drop of bleach on the black pants that you're not going to wear? Okay. So make sure you understand that part of it. That's the science. All right. So homeschooling doesn't necessarily put everything into this kind of category, but at the same time, you as the parent need to know where does that fall for the future. Your kids don't need to sit down and be like, okay, it's science time, let's go into the kitchen and bake bread, let's go into the kitchen and make juice and see the sugar dissolve. Do you understand? There's science everywhere around us. You hear the cock crowing? We're going to do outside play and we're going to investigate animals and all of those type of things. So we as parents, and this I am learning myself, and this is why I'm sharing it, right? Because we complicate education because we have a system that we follow, right? But if you are choosing homeschooling, which is like, it's really dawning on me, this light bulb of how different online schooling is to homeschooling. You've got to integrate learning into everything. Everything is a learning opportunity. Okay. Everything is a learning opportunity, and you have to decide what's important and what's not. Your children need to know certain basics, right? Because they need to know how to speak, how to write, how to read, how to count. Okay. So if you've got curriculum around those items, to me, I think that's great. And I leaned on a lot of my other parenting mentors who have gone through this. Their kids are like big and grown, and they did homeschooling long before pandemic ever happened. So I'm leaning on their experience, all right, and their knowledge of they going through what's important. Now, many of them would have told me, and I still was like, okay, I need structure because that's me. So I'm going to get a curriculum. Like I shared with you last week, I got a curriculum. But very quickly you realize what's important for kids, especially if your kids are young. I'm talking 7 and under. Okay. If your kids are older, they've got a little more work to do, a little more preparation and those type of things if you want them to, go off to college and that type of stuff. Okay. But little ones integrated into your daily life. So the other thing that I realized was very important, especially for our kids who they haven't been homeschooled before. They didn't grow up in their house being homeschooled. They were out at school every day and then coming home. So the other thing that I realized was very important is defining space. Okay. Now, not to get into too many details, but we've got to define space. And if you can't do that effectively in your home, you may need to consider, a private space that you can do that, okay? Because the kids need to understand that home is home and school is school, right? Now, a lot of children who are homeschooled from birth going up, they understand that conversion, the dining room between 9 and 12 is school, right? Or whatever the case may be. But for kids who are not used to that, you need to create that defined space. It could be in your garage. It could be, depending on your space. Some people, they don't have that in their home. So you've got to create it. Because for kids, you need to create structure and order. The next thing that you need to create structure and order, even if you're online schooling, don't have your kids in their pajamas all day, okay? Let them put on the uniform. Let them go through what they would have done. Let them have a structured day. The day starts at whatever time they normally wake up. They don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. because there's no traffic to get through to get to a physical place. But they should get up, get dressed, put on a uniform. All right. You got to get them into that routine because it's like when they go off, and I don't know for those watching, I don't know if you experience, maybe you experience this with university. When you go off to university, there's nobody there to ring the alarm to tell you, hey, it's time to go to school. Your classes at all times of the day. And one of the things that I experienced because I went to school in the US was that, people came to school 8 o'clock in the morning in class in their pajamas. And I was just like, what's this about? Okay. Now, I could understand it because every day I woke up and I put on a uniform and I went to school, right? So to me, you go into school, you put on a uniform, right? It could have been jeans and a t-shirt or whatever because you're in college. But create something, even if you don't want to put on their school uniform, put on a uniform. So let them wear the shorts and you say, we're going to wear blue t-shirts this week, or we're going to wear yellow t-shirts this week, or we're going to wear red t-shirts this week, whatever the case may be, so that the kids know, okay, we get dressed, we put on our uniform and we're ready for school. And we go into this space, whatever space you have created. All right. Because there are a lot of things going on right now. Okay. But homeschool is supposed to be inside of your home. All right. But for kids who are not used to that, creating this space or having an outside space or a defined space, man, it could be a storeroom outside that you convert. A lot of people, they have those like, I don't know, outside storehouses. Man, clear everything out and create a room out of that, right? So that there is school, okay? And the kids understand that and they could get that definition. The other thing is make sure that whatever subjects you're doing, they integrate. All right, they don't have to always be subject type. Like when we do reading at night. It's a bedtime story. Okay, you know how kids, when they get into primary school, they hate reading all of a sudden because reading is a subject. Yeah, that is what happens. Reading becomes a subject and therefore they start to hate it. So if you're doing reading, read to your children every night. Read to them because you want them to be able to read, write, speak, and count. Okay, don't create reading as a subject. Bring it home or your bedtime story, or maybe have afternoon tea. And we're going to do reading together. Everybody as a family, grab a book and we're going to read, and then we're going to talk about what was in our book, right? Depending on the ages of your children, maybe you could do that. Okay. I mean, the little ones might be a little challenging, but they could at least talk to you. And guess what you just did? Reading comprehension. Imagine that. And you didn't have to timetable it. Okay. So that again, sharing my journey with you, and sharing just some things, that I have been thinking about during this first week that we really started. But yeah, so Friday is definitely time for that until maybe, you know I don't have anything more to say about homeschooling. So see you Monday. Have a great weekend. For all my moms out there, love, keep at it. Or my dads, keep at it. This is a hard time for everybody, but we can get through it. You just have to breathe, stay calm, and love your children. Just give them a hug every day. When they do something wrong, when they throw down the cup, just give them a hug. I know, I'm telling myself that. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.